all, and welcome. My name is Ryan Selvey, and you're watching File New. This is your best source for the latest creator news, tech news, design news, you name it. And we're here to blow through a lot of news, resources, redesigns, you name it. It's great to see everybody here in the chat, both on Behance and on YouTube. Thank you for being here. Hello to Oliver and Carol, Ray. Thank you guys, Keys, also for being here. And then also Adara and everyone else over on YouTube. If you're watching the replay, I hope to make it worth your time. But I like to just hop into the news as fast as we can so we can get to talking. So let's hop on into news. So we've got a lot of exciting updates for today. I guess I like to normally start it off with some Adobe updates since this is Adobe Live after all. I will add the caveat that anything outside of official Adobe messaging is coming from me, Ryan Selvey, and not necessarily straight up Adobe. So take everything with a grain of salt. But the first thing that I do want to showcase is something that dropped a little bit after our stream last week, and it was with the Adobe Firefly video update. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this short video, and then we can talk a little bit about it.
At Adobe, we're building the future of video to help editors realize their creative vision faster and push it further. This past spring, we unveiled early explorations of generative AI in our video applications. And today, we're excited to share an update on progress and new capabilities that will help creatives overcome common editing challenges. Guided by our community's input, the Adobe Firefly video model is trained with creators' rights in mind and designed to be commercially safe. With Firefly text-to-video, you can use text prompts, a wide variety of camera controls, and reference images to generate B-roll that seamlessly fills gaps in your timeline. Quickly explore ideas for unique visual effects. Create elements for pre-visualization, like atmospheric overlays. Or use text-to-video to generate inspiration for motion graphics. With image-to-video, bring your still shots or illustrations to life by transforming them into stunning live-action clips. And coming later this year to Premiere Pro Beta, Generative Extend lets you extend clips to cover gaps in footage, smooth out transitions, or hold on shots longer for perfectly timed edits. And again, like other Firefly generative AI models, our video model is designed to be commercially safe and is only trained on public domain or licensed content, never on our users' content, so you can create with confidence. We can't wait for you to get your hands on these new capabilities in beta later this year.
So that was pretty cool. There was an update, like I said in the video, a little bit earlier in the year where it was talking about the capabilities of something that's going to be in Premiere. I think it's going to be really nice to have the extend when you have a shot that is just so slightly too short and you need to extend it in order to have just another beat or something else that can kind of fill the time and the space. And then also better with transitions, I think will be really helpful. And of course, it's all commercially safe, which is really helpful for all the things that you're working on. And you probably are editing for things that need to be commercially viable. It's not trained on any user data. It's only trained on public domain and consensual training, which is really nice. The next thing that I want to hop into, though, is some AR glasses news. And surprisingly, surprising or not, there are actually a few updates about some AR glasses. This one, and by the way, all the information for all the links for this stream are available via the Raindrop link, which I'm going to put in both chats for you guys. And this is just a really easy way to access all the links from most recent episodes and future episodes. I'm just going to throw it in here, and you'll be able to grab it. But this very first one is all about Snapchat. Do you guys remember Snapchat? Apparently, they just did a big redesign, and they went from 5 tabs down to 3 tabs. But you're saying, Ryan, why are we talking about this? And I'll tell you why. Because they look like this. This is a video that is from CNET, and you can see that he's wearing the gigantic AR spectacles. They also reported about it on TechCrunch as well. They're gigantic. They are $99 for a month, and you have to sign up for at least a year. So these are not for consumers quite yet. These are mostly for developers. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up on the show, besides their comedically large size and footprint is because this just goes to show you the continuous view of AR in our spaces. You can see here that there is even a function, this is courtesy of CNET, where you can draw with your fingers and kind of create in 3D space. These only last for 45 minutes as they stand now, but the interesting thing about them is that it just kind of continues this adoption and this idea of having 3D and augmented reality becoming closer and closer and smaller on our faces. Like, granted, these ones in particular are like the size of a planet on your face, and they look kind of silly, to be honest. But the fact that they're only for developers and they're meant to have people kind of experiment with how we're going to be designing and creating in 3D space, I think is really important. I myself have always been, and you can find different streams from like 5 years ago of me saying, I really want to get into 3D. But I think that this is even more the case, honestly, to show that it's not going away. Whether it's going to be like a Vision Pro situation or it's just going to be like a AR glasses situation or a Meta Quest situation, the idea that these gigantic AR glasses are still very much a part of our future. There is Adobe Aero, which is spelled A-E-R-O. This doesn't have any official partnership or anything announced with these glasses, and I don't have any insider information. This isn't like you can speculate off of this, but there is a way with Aero that's included in your Creative Cloud that allows you to create 3D spaces and allows you to mess with AR. The interesting thing about these specific ones is, if you guys remember Pokemon Go, which I'm sure you do, they are actually teaming up with Snapchat to create these glasses. And the idea is that we'll be able to have Lego, Niantic, which makes Pokemon Go, and some other immersive experiences that they're trying to have then sync with your phone. So when you're designing, I think it's going to be something that we're going to start to have to think about in new ways, in the same way that we went from print to 3D spaces, from print to digital spaces. I think we're going to have to go from digital spaces to 3D AR immersive environments. And the world is always changing. The next thing I want to talk about was Instagram, and they certainly changed the way that we change our relationship with the internet, but now it's about to change even more for content creators. And basically every single account that was under 18 as of yesterday started to get a rollout of teen accounts. And the reason why this is important to creators is because this is going to change how teens are interacting with your content. It's changing their algorithm. It's changing what they can and cannot do. If you are under 16, you cannot have a public profile. Like, you have to have a private profile. You can't have people DM you. So there's a lot of people on Instagram now that post something and say, like, comment and I will send you a DM. That is going to kind of break, because if anyone is under 16 in your community that is commenting on it, you're not going to be able to DM them anymore. Now, this feature is interesting. It is not opt-in. It is just default. You can't change your name. You can't change your age from any sort of like older age or anything, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to actually have to do like a video call with AI, and you have to show that you are older than 18 in order to turn this off if you're trying to change out of it. We're going to add a little guy with a little smiley face. And we're going to say under 18. The interesting thing here is they are silence notifications also between, what was it, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. If you have an underage account, you won't get notifications anymore on your phone. It's just going to be completely silent, so that your little phone and you can go to bed and you can focus on your own sleep and your schoolwork, I guess. This would have been helpful for me as a child, because guess what? I stayed up all night on my phone and on my computer. Also, there are reminders to take breaks from the app that's being added to these accounts. And then also there are a way for the algorithm that when you go over to the Explore page, it's going to have you suggest new appropriate topics to follow, so it's not just throwing all topics anymore. So that'll obviously affect the algorithm too if you have anything that is maybe not black and white as far as if it is super clean content or not. And this is all rolling out immediately. It's going to the US, the UK, I think Australia, a bunch of different places, which is very interesting. Speaking of Instagram, though, there is also another big Instagram story that happened in the last week, and this one comes from the New Yorker. This is really interesting of how the desperation of the Instagram photo dump is happening. This is from Kyle Chika at the New Yorker, and it's talking about how now we went from having 10 posts that you can put into a carousel all the way up to 20. And what that's basically saying is that, you know, when you have your Instagram account and you have your little post, suddenly it's not just a one and done situation. It is a situation where it can go and have up to 20 different things. Now, what's interesting about this article is the fact that they said there is a stigma now to posting one image. That when he was going through and asking people how they felt about this, they said that one person in particular said that it is a social risk to only post one, because if you are posting and you have the capabilities to have a bunch of options and there's other like Instagram influencers, the fact that you're only posting one image now is suddenly kind of like saying like this is the only thing that you can look at, where other people are having 20. In the article, he makes a really interesting point about the idea of going and having this aesthetic that is all very put together and cohesive, but now it's kind of this new idea of having a faux messy but very clearly organized idea. So it's supposed to look like Ryan's carousel sketch looks like my oven. Hey, I'm working on it, right? We're not done yet. Saying that, like, you know, you used to have to be very polished, but now you have to be unpolished polished, which is a whole new beast. And the idea that you have to create 10 posts that are all very casual but also very curated, to a point that makes it, I don't know, a little bit more stressful when you're creating. The good news is in Photoshop, in Express, you can create different artboards, and then that way you can kind of visualize the own posts that you're going to be putting up onto your stories or your profile. Let's see if this fixes it for you or not. So let's add like a little thing here. How's that look? Does that look better? Does that look less like an oven for you? I guess we could put a little like guy here. What should we do here? We're going to do the behind feature, by the way. Behind always makes it really nice because then you don't have to worry about... Well, now it looks like he's in the oven, doesn't it? So maybe we add some like... Change this to normal. And then we can apply it here. Also, I saw something that popped up here earlier that says, does it judge age by how baffled the person trying to talk to the AI looks? There is that. The other thing that's interesting that I forgot to mention about the last story is that if kids lie about their age and they end up like saying they're 21, but then they post a birthday thing and everyone's like, happy 14th birthday, it's going to flag that they are 14 and then get reviewed so that Facebook is able to go and see who is actually not over 18 like they said they were. Now, speaking of social networks, though, Blue Sky, I mean, also because I just made cute little clouds, right? Blue Sky just added video. Now, if you're not familiar with what Blue Sky is a Twitter alternative, or I guess now an X alternative, that has kind of gotten bigger and smaller as the year has gone on, especially with Threads and other services. But they recently just added video support with a 10 gigabyte daily limit. Blue Sky also recently just experienced a surge of users because Twitter got banned in Brazil a few weeks ago, and 10% of Brazil's population apparently is on Twitter. And so I think 3 million people signed up for Blue Sky over one weekend, and they were finally catching up. One of the last features that they had to add was video. Now you can add videos up to 60 seconds in length, and that is in MP4 format. That is in WebM format. It's in MPEG. That's how you say MPEG, right? It's in MOV, and then what I said, WebM, right? And all of these guys can go directly into Blue Sky, which is really nice because finally, like, that is a bit of one of the that was horrible. Let's use this symmetry tool because it's literally a butterfly. With the symmetry tool, you can go in here and you can make it so it draws on both sides, which is kind of cool. So you'll see that this is my line of symmetry. If I draw on one side, it'll draw on the other. But let's see if I can draw this logo. Look at that. That's pretty good, right? And so that was one of the last things that I think was holding up Blue Sky. You can find me on Blue Sky at ryanselvi.com, by the way. I need to get better about posting on there. But I think it's a really nice alternative. It's also cool to see that it's kind of picking up. There's a whole thing going on with the Fediverse, and we've gone into that in previous episodes. But it is something that is, constantly evolving. And it's nice to see it be new. All right, what else we got? There is a new partnership extension back to the goggles with Rayband and Meta. If you're not familiar, there are these other glasses that are not as AR, but they do deal with AI, and they are the glasses that come from Meta and Rayband that have a camera on both sides, and they are able to look at the world around you and give you information, also play music. They are kind of like a little bit, they're more reasonably sized. They just look like regular ones. You've probably walked by someone with these and not realized that they're there. They have cameras on both sides of the lenses like this. When there is a recording going on, if they're using the camera to take a picture or a video, there is an LED light that pops up around here, and they've sold extremely well. They have been a huge success, so much so that actually Essilor Luxottica has extended its partnership with Meta Platforms past 2030. And so, I mean, that's obviously looking way far out. There obviously is probably something with AR probably coming down the line for that. This is from Reuters, by the way. See, you can see here too. That's what they look like. They look just like regular Raybans, and you can see right here they're also next to the Meta Quest, which is much, much bigger. But these are ones that when you're looking around, they tell you about the environment around you. Let's see if I can see Raybans Meta glasses, and I can show you guys how they look like in real life. They're smart glasses. And once again, we're just going to have to design and keep an idea of how we are creating things for the world around us, because how we design, how we change, how we impact the world of design is going to be changing. Ray-Ban, not band, no D. Oh, really? I think I've always said Ray-Band. Ray-Ban? I don't know. Neither here nor there. You'll have to hype me for it anyway, because that's our last story of today is the YouTube hype. This is something that was just announced today, and there is a new hype button, and it's a way for fans to be able to heighten other creators that they care about. It's a new way for people who have under 500,000 followers to have another additional icon underneath the like button, underneath videos, that is a hype button. So when you go to a YouTube video, you'll usually have your video as normal, and then below on the bottom, you have your general like button. We'll see if I can add a little like, and below that will be a little hype button. And when you press the hype button, it will tally up who is accessing the most hype buttons to then put it on a chart of the top 100 most hyped. the hype limit for every user is going to be 3 hypes per week. So people won't get on there and just hype, incessantly to get their favorite creators out there. They're going to have to kind of limit who gets what. The idea behind it is that they'll have these 3, but then after a period of time, they're planning to offer a incentive to be able to buy more, and that will be another paid situation for YouTube to be able to make some money. But it's geared to be able to help smaller creators with less than 500,000 and be able to get them in front of other people. And that's also changing the algorithm and how we are creating different work. Key says he is hyped for this. Does it show before ads or after ads? I don't know. I'm guessing. I think it's just there the entire time. So I think no matter what, it's going to be something that you can click and have another way to elevate your work. Winter Powell is saying, it seems like those glasses would be distracting, maybe just me. And is this in a way of the glasses for the Raybans, or is this for the gigantic crazy ones from Snapchat? Because the Snapchat one I don't think you wear out in public. The Raybans ones, they also have little, I forgot to mention, they also have like little speakers here. So this is the way that it talks to you if you are using AI. It has speakers that are right on the cusp over your ear, and then it plays music or audio so that you can only hear it in a way. I mean, I'm sure if you put your head up next to somebody else, you would be able to hear it. So, if they're like, they're like this, and you're like, hello, I love you. I'm sure you would be able to hear it, but outside of that, it should be actually just private and only for you. The Raybans. Yeah, no, I mean, it's something, I think that they're kind of discreet, so you don't even see them, but maybe once we kind of get used to seeing them more, maybe they will be more distracting. So we have about 30 more minutes or so still, and we have a lot to get through. We have some really cool rebrands and other stuff to get into, but I want to just take a second to also highlight a show that happened earlier today, which is if you're really into motion graphics, and that is with Motion Hotline. I'm going to let Kyle take it away, though.
Hey everyone, Kyle here from Motion Design Hotline, where Evan Abrams and I take your questions about After Effects or motion or anything related to that, and we turn it into episodes for you to watch and learn from. Today we are talking about character animation techniques like adding arms and legs to things that wouldn't normally have them. So if you want to learn how that's done, you can catch the replay. Our show was on about 2 hours ago, or hang out with us every Wednesday morning here on Adobe Live.
I was able to catch it a little bit. It was really fun. They are so knowledgeable. They go into Rubber Hose. They go into Limber, which are other extensions that you can get for After Effects, which is really neat. And it's very fun because they're putting, arms onto birds, and that's always kind of funny to me. But yeah, that Penny Doodles is saying it's the best show. Well, guess what? No, this is the best show, Penny Doodles. Penny Doodles is wrong. We're going to get into hyperlinks, but think about your words. So hyperlinks for today. This is a period of time where we like to talk about different hyperlinks around the web that are fun to get inspired or to help rejuvenate how you interact with your creative life. The one that I came across most recently is called usenothing.com. Just easy as usenothing.com. It says, "Greetings, stranger. Ease your mind, settle into silence, and simply do nothing. You've been idle," and this is for 0 seconds, because if you move your, if you scroll up or down, if you move the mouse, if you go to any other tab, it will restart the clock. It says, "Nothing is a timer that tracks your intentional choice to do nothing. No goals to chase, no notifications clamoring for your attention, no pleasure to fill the silence with productivity. It simply exists, quietly counting each second you allow to pass. This is a space where inactivity is the point, a digital oasis amidst the chaos of endless tasks and to-do." And so this is, it gives you your pointless statistics about your highest, how many times you've been here. And so if you just go up to the top and I just let go of the mouse, you'll see it begins to go up. And we're kind of cheating it here because guess what? We are doing something and we are talking into the microphone and streaming while this is happening, but the website thinks that we're doing nothing. That said, this is a nice way if you are easily distracted and you need to take a breath and you just need to kind of take a break in between any designing or creating and you need something to kind of limit you. This is a good way to be able to do that. You can access it from anywhere. It's just www.usenothing.com. I think it's really comforting. And it comes from Maze, which is this Twitter user. Is a programming and philosophy guy. And that makes sense. Code's available on GitHub. You can implement it into your own projects if you want to. But that's all we have for Hyperlinks today. Let's go hop in to some Rebrand. I'm excited to talk to you guys about Rebrand today because I think there are two very pretty rebrands. The first one being a soccer one, which I don't normally actually follow any soccer stuff. This is for Stars and Stripes. It was reported on by Creative Boom, which is a fantastic website. This is a really cool way of using type to then use negative space in order to create this star in between. And then they're able to also switch it out for the different teams that they have. This is coming from the Barcelona-based motion design studio Through. That is THRU. And that is developed to promote their coverage of the 2024 Copa America and UEFA Euros in the United States. It's creating a visual system that could adapt to the diverse needs of the campaign while maintaining a strong and consistent identity in their own words. And also from this article. This article is from Abby Bamford at Creative Boom. It says that the bold condensed style, which was crucial for creating the star shapes that are central to the identity, are made with Anton and Helvetica now. Anton, I believe, is an open typeface, so if you're looking to get it, you can get it. And then Helvetica is obviously Helvetica. What are you talking about? This is a very interesting way of approaching the same, like with M and N and I here, you can see that the shape of the star is very, very clear. However, with this S, even though it's not as clear, I think, as the F, or, even the G gets a little wonky. You can still see the star, and I think that it's a really strong approach to being able to make something so adaptable. You can also put different characters on the inside so that it's kind of having this overlap and 3D vibe. One thing that I wanted to touch on, though, was this cool little strokey thing that they have happening here. And you can get that with After Effects pretty easily, and I wanted to show you guys how to do that. They probably did a bunch of different ways. You can do split scan and time remapping, but the easiest way that I found to do it, especially if you're just trying to do it kind of in a quick rush, not that you're rushing everything, but if you want to just use kind of one thing and you don't want to have to download any extensions, I'm going to show you guys how to do it real quick. We're going to create a new composition, and we'll just make it 1920 by 1080, which is general. And we'll give a new solid. Since we are on file new, we'll make it a nice purple. And I don't know the exact hexadecimal, but we'll do that. And we'll just take a text tool, and we'll just say file new. We're going to change this to Adobe Clean. Adobe Clean Bold. We'll change the fill to yellow just so we're staying on brand here. And it makes it vibrate and hurt everybody's eyes. I want to make it actually even bolder. Let's make it black just for fun. I'll hold down Y, and that switches it to the center here. We can go to Window Align, and I'll put it in the center of the composition. So one of the easiest ways to do this here, you can go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and you just go to the Effects, and it's called CC Scale Wipe. And with CC Scale Wipe, you have the capability to stretch certain types of stuff. Now, you can see that while we're doing that, it's really blowing out the sides of the purple. So I'm just going to completely expand this so that we don't even have to worry about that. But you can go and increase this stretch and change the center. So the center is over here. We want to make sure that it's 90 degrees, so it's just coming from the side. And you can actually just create a keyframe of the center, click the keyframe here, move it forward a little bit, move it here, all the way to the side, And what do you know? We can quickly zoom it out. You can make it move faster. If we wanted to have it kind of be a reveal, we could maybe reverse those keyframes. So if we wanted to have it bring in, you can go like this. You can change this keyframe assist to easy ease in. So it can do that. You can also, since this is an adjustment layer, you still have full capabilities to move this around as you want to. So like, let's say you want to make it even more dramatic and you want to kind of have it continuing to come into place right after there. So I'm going to move it to like this and then say ease in, and then it'll kind of still kind of comes into place as it's moving forward. Maybe we want to do a little bit of overshoot as well. And we can say that we can go a little bit farther and then bring it back. So it's like, pew. Of course, you can always go into this area too if you want to play with your value graph to have it blow up a little bit more. But yeah, see how easy that was? That was so quick. Talk about hype. That type is hype. Well, thanks. Stretch those muscles. Yeah, and you can just stretch out the type. You can do this with images as well. And it's a pretty easy, fun effect. But I think that it's really effective, especially in this case. You see that they're kind of messing around. They're even doing some clipping paths too to make sure that nothing falls over. But same sort of vibe here where it's coming and going. And it's just really pretty. So 2 thumbs up to that, Rebrand. And thank you to Creative Boom for talking about it. There's actually another one that Creative Boom wrote about, along with a few other ones, and that is the Brooklyn Museum. The Brooklyn Museum, if you guys don't know, is a fantastic museum in Brooklyn, go figure. And they recently just announced a new look for its 200-year anniversary. This is what the Ligatures in today's title was all about. And what I found really interesting about this is they did some really goofy stuff with the M's and the U's in their logo. So you can see here that the M-U-S-E-U-M, the M's are merged with the verticals of the U, but you can still kind of read it. They also have these dots on the side, okay? And these dots are helpful for motion design, but they also are a reference to the names that are on the external facade of the building. On the building, they have all of these names that have a... like different philosophers and literary artists that are adorned the top of the building on the outside, and they all have these little dots on the side. So by having that in the logo, it not only gives them this cool uniform design language and design system, but it also is just a way to make kind of like a little homage to their own roots. You can see here with their keychain, which is really cool. They have the holes of the keychain then also reflect that. And it's just something that can be easily scalable even when they put it in Brooklyn. They said that their O's are a part of connection, community, and how the museum brings together diverse voices, cultures, and ideas. And then the colors that they chose are actually in reference to the limestone of the building. Like I said, lots of places actually wrote about this. This one is from Creative Boom, but there also is a really great write-up in printmagazine.com, which is also free. They have the whole write-up as well with some similar images, but each one kind of adds their own. And then, of course, under consideration, Brand New has their own write-up on it, and you guys should definitely check that out if you have the chance. It's super strong. I like the typeface that they used. It's nice and simple. It feels iconic, but also isn't trying to reinvent the wheel. Apurva is saying that the O's are looking good. Robert sent some links over on Behance, and I have not. I have not actually checked my Behance DMs in a little bit, so I will definitely check those after today's stream. Thank you for submitting. If you guys also see any design rebrands or anything that you're interested in that you would like to see on the show, please let me know, because I'm always looking for new stuff. I'm always going through my favorite websites, but I think in general, this is really cool. If I were to do this myself, I probably would just go into Illustrator and mess with the type itself to kind of merge those type forms. So, like, I'm trying to think of file new if there's anything that could line up, like the N and the E maybe. But even then, that can get a little goofy. You can always go and outline your type, which is nice. and that'll give you full control over the forms themselves. But you can also do the live type tool, which allows you to move around type without removing the editability of it. So we'll write file new again. I'm going to make it nice and big. We're going to go and do Adobe Clean because that is a nice, reliable one. And what did we say? We said that the N and the E could probably be brought together. The I and the L wouldn't read as well, I don't think. But you just go up and... Oh, wait. When's the last time? Where's my type tool? If it's hidden, you can always go into the extender and go to the area type tool. And then make sure that that's selected. Oops. Where'd you go? Extend. All right, bring that on over. Add, please add. Cool. And that should let you move things around. Wait, where's my freeform type? Free type tool. I've done this before. Where is it? The touch type tool. Shift T. There it is. All right. And now we're able to move things around. With Shift T. Excuse me for that. And if we wanted to, we could even line it up like this if we'd like to. Just like that. It might not look the best because of just the thickness of the letters. But I certainly think that you can do that because then look now, if we want to change it, we still can change it. If we want to have it be file now, even though that's wrong, or file fine new, it even updates it moving forward. So then the new is right there. Of course, one alternate way to do that as well is you could always just go up to type and say create outlines. It's going to create it, and then you would just go in here and you would ungroup. You would select what you want, and then you would move it over. But now these are all shape layers, and we can no longer change the type of the content of the type itself, which would be a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, those are the two rebrands that I thought were really cool this week. If you guys have any ones that you are interested in, I would love to hear the ones that you're interested in. I see that Adara put up some of my Behance link into the chat. Thank you for doing that. You guys can also hit me up on Blue Sky or Instagram. I'm Ryan Selvey, and we can do that. Alessandra is asking the best way to send me stuff, Instagram or Discord or Behance. Any of those work. I just need to make sure that I check them to make sure that they're all set out. The way that I can always jump out because a folder and dance its way over the letters. Yeah, I know, right? I'm just constantly needing to backtrack in some sort of way or fashion. But that is our rebrands for the week. Let's go and hop into resources. So for this resource, we have a really interesting topic of Photoshop versus Lightroom, and the idea of when is the best time to use one over the other. This is a write-up from Digital Trends. They wrote this earlier this week. It's from Gannon Burgett, and I just thought that it was a really good example of Photoshop versus Lightroom and when you use one and when you use the other one, just because they kind of have an overlap and it can be hard to figure out when you want to do which. Now, Digital Trends Gannon Burgett says that Adobe Photoshop is effectively a digital darkroom where you can make detailed adjustments and alterations to any kind of image. Adobe Lightroom, on the other hand, is closer to an entire photography studio as it imports, organizes, edits, and exports photographs. Photoshop relies on using Bridge as a mean to kind of catalog your work. Then you go into RAW. When you try to open it up into Photoshop, it's going to open you up into RAW first, and then it finally leads you into Photoshop. You can do most of the stuff that you want to do in RAW in the Photoshop RAW. And that's going to be your typical stuff like white balance or exposure. You can do your curves, and you can even actually do some removal of stuff. But if you want to do really extensive edits, that's when you would then hop out of RAW and then jump into Photoshop. And that's its own thing. And so that's kind of 3 different programs that have in your own workflow. But let's say that you want to have all of it in one spot. That's kind of where Lightroom comes into play. And this is when Lightroom kind of catalogs modules and helps you sort through all of your work and make bulk edits. Lightroom can be a little bit harder on your system. So if you have a bit of a older computer that works a little bit slower, and you need to have a little bit something that's less resource intensive, then maybe you would go towards the Photoshop workflow. But Lightroom is more of like an all-in-one encompassing thing. Depending on how your catalogs or modules are in Lightroom, you might have to pick which project it is based off of your requirements, your system, or the stuff that you're going through. There's a lot of overlap between kind of Bridge and Lightroom. There's a lot of overlap between Photoshop RAW and the RAW that you have straight in Lightroom. But there is lots of really great features here, and you can create presets, do a lot of really bulk editing. Penny says that her computer needs a hype button to hang in there for those heavy processes. Yes, absolutely. You can see there's also like a rating system similar to Bridge also in Lightroom. So it comes down to personal preference. There's also some really cool mobile apps as well. I know that the team at the Lightroom team recently rolled out a bunch of really great like generative fill to help get rid of distractions in the backgrounds for Lightroom, which is also another big part of Photoshop. So if you go with one or the other, you really can't go wrong. But it's a short read up. It'll walk it through a little bit better than I will. Walks even like pricing and conclusions and where they kind of land. But it's a nice write up, and you can check it out at digitaltrends.com. The link is in the raindrop. And then our one other resource that we have today, I actually learned about through an Adobe live stream yesterday. I was watching the Spotlight with Yon Studio with Lisa's and Andrew, and they were really, really helpful and really informative. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that, check that out. But one of the things that they talked about was a free resource from BattleAxe. BattleAxe is a really great collection of motion artists that have really great products, both free and priced. And it is they have Overlord, Rubber Hose, Anubis, Time Lord, but then they have a bunch of freebies, including this one called Void. I've also used Butt Capper before, which just easily changes the end of the strokes to be soft or hard. But this one is called Void, and it replaces nulls. Now, Keith's got it right in the chat. Also, hey Fung, how's it going? The capabilities of Void are it replaces nulls that happen in After Effects with solid shapes, and this is a big benefit because when you're sharing projects and nulls kind of get out of control in their own solids folder, and then you're sharing things between two people, that sometimes things can get mixed up and lost. And this adds a lot of functionality and just like this nice little simple module where you can add it. You can even switch out, as Andrew was saying in the stream yesterday, you can switch out your keyboard shortcuts to create a new null with instead creating a new void. And another thing that I saw that I really caught my attention was these the paths that you can then apply the void to. So you can see in this example here, he's selecting on this worm, he's twirling down to the path section and hitting create a void. And it's not only just creating it for the whole path, but it's doing a rigging system where it then is creating 5 voids, one for each point where the anchor point is moving. So then that way you can click and drag and create an animation like this worm cutely, or very cutish, very adorably walking from left to right on the screen, and being able to use that with just like simple keyframe animations. They're also super flexible in the way that they have shape properties, so you can really mess with the properties of how it affects your work, whether it's like scaling or rotation, which is really nice. It can work on zeroing out your position to bring the position to the center of the composition rather than the top left, which is nice. Penny says very demure, very cutesy. And then, yeah, it can all work within your 2D properties. And the cool thing is this is all free. We recently were saying Jake in Motion was in the chat earlier today during the Hotline, Motion Hotline. And it's always cool to see that support. And yeah, you guys should check it out. It's just battleaxe.co/void. And, you know, you should go. All right, now we are then going to hop into Font of the Week. So Font of the Week is all accessible through your Adobe fonts. I like to always go out and pick out some really nice fonts that have either recently been added or have been trending, or ones that I have personally been checking out. I do like this Orbital one. I was not going to talk about this one, but now that we are cycling through, this Italian masterpiece of 4 weights is beautiful. This looks like it's just a regular font. It is not a variable font, but this is created by the Aldo Novarese, Fulvio Bisca, and Stefano Torregrossa from Reber R41. And yeah, it's just a really pretty font. This is getting me distracted, but that's really nice. The one that I have linked to in the Raindrop, though, if you want to check out the Raindrop ones, is one called Chantel Sans. And this is available on your Typekit, but I actually thought it'd be better to just go to the website itself, chantelsans.com, to then be able to see kind of how this works. This is a variable handwritten font that is better than Comic Sans. So if you're working with something that needs to look like it's handwritten and it's not, you know, super serious, you can use this typeface. It says that it is a marker style font built for creative expression, typographic play, and animation. It is available as a 5-axis variable font as well as a collection of static fonts. And from a quote from the creator, it says, "One of my first relationships with words started in elementary school. We did spelling tests every week. I never passed them and had to sit in detention. Despite my fear of tests, I love words. I knew they helped me express my feelings and made me feel better. I later discovered that I was dyslexic, and recently I thought, what if I take my words and make a font that is playful, professional, accessible, and open? I was inspired by Comic Sans because I have always liked how fun and easy it is to read, especially for me as a dyslexic." So it's free, it's open sourced, it's licensed under the SIL Open Font License 1.1, and it's helpful for dyslexia. And the reason why it's helpful for dyslexia is because things like the B and the D have unique changes that if your mind is flipping the letters in the way that dyslexia affects the brain, you can see that this B here goes down and then loops up and back around to the bottom, whereas this D has a little kick to the bottom of it. The other ones that they have, you know, is like a P or a Q, same sort of thing. There is this kick out for the Q. That way you have a nice visual cue to say that things are different, and that you can always kind of see from there. Because what it's BTQP, and then what are there any other dyslexic letters? I mean, those are the big ones, right? And then with the description, it was saying how there can be a weight variable font, so you can actually go and bring it down to the point where you can see as I'm slowly switching this down to, you know, like 300, and it gets really, really thin, but then you can really make it a bulky boy and bring it all the way up to 800. This informality is a very nice slider that I personally did not know that you would be able to affect. But the accessibility of, I guess, making it feel a little bit more casual or uncasual. And then also you can play with the bounce if you want it to feel a little bit less like kind of so static and handwritten. So I can be like, we're accessible on file new. Oops. new exclamation point, and then you can change the bounce. And this is all free, so this is available to be just simply added to your font library if you're on Typekit. Or you can always just download it straight onto your system. They have a really good walkthrough of the design process, which is cool, with Chantel Martin, just walking through all of the way that it kind of came to be, and you know, how it can be applied to your different projects. But you can see here, like, this looks like a nice handwritten, you know, nice in the way of that it gets handwritten, but it looks like it's, I don't know, thoughtfully designed. It's not just Comic Sans. It doesn't look like the same thing over and over again, and it can feel like it has a handwritten font when you're just kind of building things out entirely on things. Oh, yes, here we go. So I, L, and 1 all have different qualifiers to show you that they have differentiation between them for dyslexia. Also with the N and the U, if the U gets flipped upside of the N. And then, yeah, I just think it looks really good. And that's what I had for Font of the Week. So you can check them out. Also, just a nice little fun up read. It's quite a long read. But, you know, if you're looking for something to add to your read later, I think that it's great to have. And then just as an update for next week on proper type formatting, proper type, and how you talk about it with the idea of, like, the proper vocabulary. We're going to be discussing the history of type. It's all a Type Wednesday next week, which is exciting. But this is the new file, new time, which is nice to have back. This is, I know we were a little bit earlier last week, but this week it's going to be, coming week and this week are all the proper time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern or 12 o'clock Pacific. Yeah, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about what you would like to see if you want to have guests on. As you guys can see, I'm also really experimenting with the format of the show, trying to find ways to continue to still have the news, the resources, the rebrands, the hyperlinks for you, but also try to make sure that it has actionable ways for you to work with Adobe apps. I don't know. I want to make sure it's still resourceful and helpful for you guys, and see how you guys feel about it. I would love your feedback. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Blue Sky. You know, whatever it may be. I'm happy to have it. Thank you so much for moderating this, Adara. It's good to have you here. Thank you to Fung and Kieran, Oliver and Keys, Robert, Penny. Thanks for keeping me company in chat. And I hope to see you guys all next week. You guys should stick around, though, because this is not the end of the broadcast day. We have Office Hours with Andrew Hawkrottle coming up next, right here on Adobe Live. You'll be kicked over there in just a second, but that's it for me. I will see you all next week. Thank you very much. Bye. RyanSelvey.com. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Blue Sky. That's it.